When the ground shifts and the skies darken, readiness becomes more than a plan. It becomes who we are. Hi, I'm Greg Davenport, and this is the JGD Prepared Service blog, where we uncover the heartbeat of preparedness, the power of volunteerism, and the spirit that binds us when everything is tested. Because every moment of calm is a chance to build strength, and every act of readiness is a promise to those who depend on us. Today's discussion is on winter storms and warm hearts and why local volunteers matter. But before we start, be sure to like, share, and follow us. It really helps. You know how every winter we turn into amateur meteorologists? We're checking the forecast, swapping snow totals, talking about how many layers we've got on. For some of us, a snowstorm just means inconvenience. School delays, slick roads, maybe a missed meeting. But for the older population or those with a disability, or perhaps the family that is living paycheck to paycheck, the same storm can be a nightmare. A blocked front step, a dead furnace, a dark house. These issues aren't just annoying, they can be life-threatening. In many communities, when a crisis occurs, this is when local volunteers quietly become the heroes next door. Let's consider 3 points in this discussion. First point, small acts can make a big difference. When we hear the word crisis or disaster, we tend to picture city officials, emergency managers, sirens, and press conferences. That's the big picture. Or perhaps we visualize how we will prepare our home to withstand the storm. That's our solution. But does the big picture or our preparedness support everyone? And should it? For example, does it include shoveling the elderly neighbor's walkway? Does it include taking the elderly neighbor's blankets during a major cold front? Or perhaps, does it include inviting these neighbors over if the power goes out? Although these don't feel like big, dramatic acts of heroism, they are incredibly practical. I mean, think about it. When you shovel the elderly neighbor's sidewalks, it creates a path to their car, to the clinic, or just to the mailbox without a fall. You've made a difference. When you offer blankets on a cold day, you keep their body temperature at a normal level. You've made a difference. These examples are just a few of many, but I hope they make a point. And that point is, small acts can and do make a difference. Second point, one person, yes, just one, can make a difference. Even in well-resourced towns, there are always gaps. Plows can't hit every street first. Power crews can't restore electricity to every house at once. Ambulances can't be on every corner. And so again, at times like these, that's where neighbors often step in. Perhaps it's a simple task performed by one, or perhaps it's by a few. For example, checking on seniors when the forecast is bad. Or maybe it's a local church organizing rides for people who need dialysis. Or a handful of volunteers putting together thermoses of soup and dropping them off to folks who are stuck at home. These aren't flashy social media worthy moments. They are, however, small acts that make a difference, like we discussed in our first point. However, let's focus on the person. Those who help or perform these tasks. These individuals don't usually have a fancy uniform, name tags, or radios. They are usually in the clothes they put on for the day and carrying their personal cell phone. So what are they doing? Well, they simply saw a gap or a need in service and were willing to stand in it. One person or one family or perhaps one block at a time. They are making a difference. Third point. Winter volunteering helps create a community. There's another side to this that I really love. When you help someone through a crisis, a storm, or similar event, you're not just doing a task, you're actually starting a relationship. Before the storm, the person at the end of your street was just the older guy on the corner. After a few check-ins and shared cups of coffee, when the power came back on, he's suddenly Frank. You know his story, and he knows yours. Next time there's a big wind, a power outage, or even just a community event, that connection is already there. The social fabric you built during the winter storm doesn't vanish in the spring. People remember, and now they're more willing to trust, to ask for help when they need it, and to offer help when they can. And honestly, you benefit too. A lot of us feel a little low in winter, less daylight, less time outside, more isolation. And thus, helping others gives us a reason to move, to connect, to feel useful in a very tangible way. So if you're wondering what you can do that really matters, here's a simple question to sit with. Who in your neighborhood would have a harder time than you if the power went out or the snow piled up? And what's one small thing you could do for them the next time the forecast turns ugly? Sometimes the most powerful source of heat in a cold snap isn't the space heater, it's a warm-hearted neighbor who shows up. Bottom line, small acts can and do make a difference. One person can and does make a difference, and volunteering spirits help communities form.